Oh, konta. Let's talk about some nerdy shit. Let's be honest for a second. If the government gives you money, it's usually not because they like you. Subsidies, the state's attempt to bribe you into being responsible.
Corruption is not bad. Corruption is only bad if I'm not involved.
All the ways the state gently waves cash at you says, please insulate your house. Please buy the heat pump. Please stop pretending gas is forever. It's not free money, it's conditional encouragement. Welcome to Subsidies in the Netherlands, where the money exists but only if you behave. Most subsidies here aren't about new buildings. They're about sustainability, energy efficiency, and quietly panicking about climate targets and housing shortages at the same time. So instead of here's money, go build, it's more like here's money, but only if you insulate your roof, buy a heat pump, keep receipts, take photos, and don't miss the deadline. In very simple terms, building-related subsidies in the Netherlands fall into two worlds. For private homeowners, the focus is on making existing homes more energy efficient. For companies, institutions, and organizations, it's about innovation, sustainability, and reducing emissions. There are some niche programs for housing production or specific sectors, but the main storyline is clear. We're not subsidizing buildings, we're subsidizing better behavior. If you own a house, the main character in your life is the ISDE. That's the Investering Subsidie Duurzame Energie en Energiebesparing, which already tells you this won't be simple. ISDE gives you money back if you install things like insulation, heat pumps, solar boilers, connect to the heat network, or even switch to electrical cooking. Not because it's fun, it's because gas is out and the future is loud heat pumps. The amount you get depends on what you install and how much of it. And if you do more than one measure, the subsidy suddenly doubles. This is the government saying, if you're already suffering, you might as well suffer efficiently. On top of that, some regions have their own pots of money for strengthening, renovating, or generally apologizing for past decisions. So let's talk about the ISDE, the Investering Subsidie Duurzame Energie en Energiebesparing, which already tells you everything you need to know about how fun the process is going to be. This is the main subsidy for private homeowners and small businesses in the Netherlands, not for building a house from scratch, but for fixing the one you already have so it stops leaking energy. The ISDE covers things like insulation, heat pumps, solar boilers, connection to a heat network, and even switching to electric cooking. Basically, if it lowers CO2 and makes gas feel embarrassed, there's probably a subsidy for it. For insulation, we're talking about roof insulation, wall insulation, floor insulation, and glass upgrades. For installations, heat pumps, solar boilers, and network connections. And yes, the amounts vary wildly. You might get a few €100 for installation and several thousands for a heat pump or solar boiler. This is not random. It depends on what you install and how much of it you install. Here's the important part most people miss. If you take only one installation measure, you get a subsidy. If you take two or more, the subsidy for the installation doubles. Same thing if you combine insulation with a heat pump, solar boiler, or heat network connection. The state is basically saying, if you're already doing one responsible thing, you might as well commit. And yes, there's a time limit. You have 24 months to combine measures and still qualify for the higher amount. You do not apply before installation. You install first, you pay first, then you ask nicely for money back. Please? You need a valid invoice, a payment proof, a melt code for the product, and photos of the work, especially for installation. Yes, photos. Yes, during construction. Yes, you will forget unless someone tells you now. Your installer should put the melt code on the invoice. If they don't, your application gets stuck in bureaucratic limbo. Before you buy anything, you check the RVO website, linked in the description below. There's a list. If your heat pump, insulation system, or boiler isn't on the list, you might still apply, but now you're gambling. No list equals extra documents equals higher chance of rejection. Rejection equals €0 and mild rage. Once you submit everything, RVO takes over. They'll confirm receipts, give you a reference number, and then you wait. Usually up to 8 weeks for a decision. If approved, the money lands in your account. If not, you learned a valuable lesson about reading conditions.
This is the worst!
Despite all the names, roles, and portals, subsidies are doing three things. They push energy efficiency, they reduce CO2 emissions, and they force the building sector to modernize, whether it likes it or not. You don't get rewarded for building bigger, you get rewarded for building smarter, and occasionally for building quieter. Applying for subsidies is rarely difficult, it's just precise. You research the scheme, you check the conditions, you hire a professional because you're not allowed to install most things yourself, you collect invoices, payment proofs, product codes, photos, and your sanity. Then you submit everything on time, usually between 24 months, sometimes within weeks, always earlier than you think. Miss one detail and the bribe politely disappears. That's really what Subsidies, the state's attempt to bribe you into being responsible, comes down to. You still pay, you still suffer, but if you tick the right boxes, the state quietly helps you cover part of the damage. If this made Subsidies slightly less confusing, or at least more tolerable, then mission accomplished. And if not, at least now you know why that heat pump suddenly looks affordable. That's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Till next time.